There is something wrong in this painting. The children are dressed for a performance, but nobody is performing. And the clown beside them is not entertaining anyone. He's simply watching. In 1906, the French writer André Gide saw paintings like this in Berlin and wrote to the unknown Pole who created them, promising him a show in Paris. 2 years after that Paris exhibition, the heart condition he had lived with since birth killed him. He was only 29 years old. His name was Witold Wojtkiewicz, and once you notice what his clowns do to these scenes, you begin to see it everywhere. In 1905, a cabaret opened above a Krakow cafe. They called it Zielony Ballonik, the green balloon. You couldn't just walk in. It was invitation only, run by writers and artists who spent their evenings mocking the same bohemian city that they belonged to. Wojtkiewicz designed the invitations and helped decorate the room. The drawings are loose, tumbling, cruel even, jokes built for one evening and never meant to survive it. Here, his friend the writer Tadeusz Boyce Zelensky rides a ridiculous hobby horse. Keep that toy in mind. It comes back, and when it does, the joke will be gone. By day, Wojtkiewicz drew for a satirical magazine called Liberium Vitae. Illustration helped support him while he tried to build a life as a painter. His father, Stanisław, was chief cashier at a Warsaw bank, a careful man with 11 children, and he was against this life entirely. He wanted his son to choose something safer. But safety had never really applied to Witold. He was born with a heart defect that could not be cured, so frail that he was baptised in haste on the day of his birth. He grew up sickly, interrupted, and stubborn, and he chose paint anyway. By 1903, he was at the Krakow Academy of Fine Arts, in the studio of Leon Wyciechowski, one of the leading painters of the Young Poland movement. Young Poland, Młoda Polska, wanted painting to reach toward symbolism and mood, toward pictures that behave like poems. Wojtkiewicz absorbed all of it, but his own subject found him in the street. In 1905, revolution broke across Russian-controlled Poland. Strikes, demonstrations, killings. Wojtkiewicz was in Warsaw when the unrest came through it, and he drew what he saw. The sketches of those days were widely circulated. Raised fists, a banner, bodies lying in the street. The line is dense and black, nothing left of the cabaret's playfulness. And something strange is happening in these drawings. Even his national allegory comes out twisted. The suffering faces are stretched into masks. Satire needs a target, a person to mock, an idea to puncture. But what he was watching now was bigger than any target. The absurdity wasn't in one politician or one pompous critic anymore. It was in everything. His painting was about to fall out there, and the first place it broke through was the faces of people he knew. He could paint people straight when he wanted to. In Krakow, he grew close to the family of Stanisław Parensky, a doctor and collector, and he painted his wife Eliza with real tenderness. The handling is patient, nothing distorted, a woman closely observed. Their daughter, Lisa, sits in profile, flowers in her hair, calm. But notice how far away she seems from the room she's sitting in, as if she's somewhere the painting can't quite follow. It's the first sign of what's coming, as people are slipping loose from their settings. The musician, Bolesław Raczyński, sits solid and present in the foreground. Behind him, small ghostly performers drift through a space that isn't his room at all. Wojtkiewicz is painting a real man, and beside him, the inside of a head. Other sitters get the same treatment. person stays real, the space around them stops behaving. He was painting what it feels like to sit with someone whose mind is somewhere else. Everyone has been in that room. Wojtkiewicz just made it visible. Even his Krakow park carries a quiet warning. A child crosses the foreground pulling a toy on wheels. Here, it's still just a toy. But he has placed it so carefully that it reads as a signal, something ordinary, waiting to become something else. In Ploughing, exhibited as a parody of the established Polish landscape masters, the horse is stiff and mask-faced, the worker stretched thin. The joke was aimed at other painters, but look at what he did to the living things inside it. Did the masked worker represent a fool, having to toil, while wealthy masters lived an easier life? By 1906, his gardens stop feeling safe. In fantasy, a gaunt figure stands against a wall of burning orange, and a dark doorway opens behind them onto nothing. Behind the wall is quieter and somehow worse. A woman leans forward and pulls a boy and a wooden toy, and a wall closes across the whole background, gently but completely. The absurdity he chased through cabarets and newspapers no longer belonged to anyone in particular. It had become the weather of his world. The circus gave that world its permanent cast. The clowns in front of the little theatre are not performing, they're waiting. Their masks have become more alive than the faces underneath. The room should feel festive. Instead, it feels airless, held under glass. Look at the children behind the draped table. They sit perfectly still while the clown performs in front of them. They are not the audience. They're part of the display. A circus only works if everyone agrees to pretend. Wojtkiewicz paints the moment the pretending becomes permanent. In Circus of Madmen, the theatre moves outdoors into a bare walled yard. Children sit on wheeled platforms. Some of them wear crowns. Figures ride toy horses that will never leave that yard. Their small bodies carry tired adult faces. In marionettes, a private room becomes a stage. A couple embraces on the floor while a row of costumed children stands watching, and a king and queen type figure sit massively in chairs, orchestrating the show. Everyone shares the room, nobody shares the event. Each figure is sealed inside its own performance. Dolls makes the argument explicit. Above, real girls sit still and grey in a quiet interior. Below, in a black band, their dolls dance in brilliant colour. He has given the artificial figures more life than the living ones. The question the painting asks is simple. Which half of this picture is the real performance? In Meditations, enormous hats and heavy formal clothes turn grown women into ceremonial objects. They sit under candlelight with wide, fixed eyes. The costumes seem to be wearing them. You'll read that his masks descend from the Belgian painter James Onsor, who also filled his canvases with masks and carnival crowds. The family resemblance is real, but Onsor's masks expose hypocrisy. They pull the lie off of the face. Wojtkiewicz's masks do the opposite. They erase the person wearing them. By now, his whole painted world was a theatre, and its most unsettling role was still to be cast. That role went to children. Here, a procession of them cross a field under a blackening sky. The weather is closing in, and there is no adult anywhere in the frame. They carry the whole emotional weight of the painting that used to be a job for grown-ups. It is dynamic, colourful, dark, and my favourite painting of his. In Children's Crusade, children gather in a garden. It is dark and posed. The children are arranged as if in some unknown ceremony. In 1908, the last full year of his life, he painted the cycle From Children's Poses. It is his mature masterpiece. Two children in white ride pale toy horses across a bare field. Beside one of them, on a darker horse, rides a clown. The cabaret joke has followed the children home. But here, the clown isn't funny. He has turned their game into something rehearsed, something directed. The play goes on, but it no longer belongs entirely to them, and it is menacing. He kept returning to Krakow's fairs and public spectacles, but even here the crowd has begun to distort. The central couple swell into caricature, while children drift through a world that adults barely seem to notice. His imagined theatre was already growing out of real life. In Idylla, or matchmaking, an adult courtship ritual has been built around a girl. She stands between the grown figures like a prop in someone else's ceremony. Nobody in the painting looks at ease inside the role they've been given. And in Abduction of a Princess, the toy has become a horse. A child is carried away on it. In this disturbing painting, the figures nearby watch and do not move, and her father watches from nearby in horror. It's a very dark painting, although the colour is light. The language is still fairy tale, still make-believe, but nobody in this painting is pretending anymore. And in Parting, everything he had built arrives in one image. A woman and a child stand beside water saying goodbye, and into that farewell rides a clown on a wheeled toy horse. It isn't funny. The clown can't lift the sadness because he belongs to it. I sometimes wonder, does the clown represent Russia? This is where the green balloon's laughter ended up, inside a child's goodbye, wearing a painted face. In 1905, Wojtkiewicz joined 4 other young artists in the group of 5, painters who wanted pictures that behaved like literature and music. In 1906, their work reached the Salon Schulte in Berlin, and there, Andrzej Żyd and the painter Maurice Denis stopped in front of the strange Polish paintings. Żyd wrote to Wojtkiewicz promising to help arrange an exhibition in Paris. It opened in the Galerie Drouet in May 1907 with a catalogue introduction written by Żyd himself. At 27, an unknown Polish painter had his work hanging in Paris, championed by one of Europe's most important writers. In Mi Carême, his painting of the Paris Carnival, faces surface from a dark crowd beneath lit windows. Even here, at the centre of the art world, what he saw was another public performance. Then he went home, and the time he had left ran out quickly. Many of the works, now regarded as his masterpieces, came in the final 2 years, including the children's cycles and the ceremonies paintings. On the 14th of June 1909, the heart condition that had followed him since birth finally killed him. He was only 29 years old. His mother placed his diary inside his coffin, and it was buried with him. Museums would later file him under symbolism, early expressionism, or a forerunner of surrealism. The labels say where to hang him, they don't say what he did. What he did was this: he started by mocking a world he could see, and ended by building one nobody else could. A world where the absurdity had entered the rooms, the ceremonies, the faces, where even the children had been made to perform. Paris saw it briefly. Then, outside Poland, his name quietly slipped from view. From an artist Europe recognised almost too late, go next to Marianne von Werefken, the woman who helped build Expressionism while the men around her became famous. Her story is on screen now. Also on screen, the story of James Onsor, the artist discussed earlier in this video, with whom comparisons are often made with Wojtkiewicz.